Andrew Cotter and welcome along to this Hilton audience with Graeme McDowell. We do have with us, obviously today, given the title, the man himself, Graeme McDowell. GMAC, he's known universally as, and I think we should all give him a warm round of applause. I think we have to do a virtual round of applause. Hang on a second, let me do one of those reactions. Here we go. There is.
Hey.
Can you see that? Those are actually my hands. If I do that, there we are. Well done, Graeme McDowell. I'm going to ask some questions of Graeme, but we also do have, courtesy of Hilton, some very fortunate guests here. A few guests to ask some questions of you as well from around the world. We'll be introducing them as and when to ask their questions. So looking forward to that. But first of all, how is life? That's a big, broad question to start with, but how are things at the moment with you?
Yeah, that's one of those questions at the moment that's difficult enough to answer. But listen, it's been a weird year, right? It's been a weird year for everyone. It's been difficult. Obviously, we're very fortunate in golf that we were, one of the first sports to return in June, and I think speaking for the PGA Tour and the European Tour, to come back and execute as successfully as we have, keeping most of our players and support staff safe generally for the last 7 or 8 months. I think it's been great, but certainly having a few months off in the middle of a season, the middle of a career, if you like, it was certainly difficult and weird times. Certainly puts life in perspective. Professional sport faded into insignificance, I suppose, really, in the kind of in the lens of what was going on around the world, and hopefully, as vaccines come and we can start having fans in to watch us play golf and kind of. Certainly from a professional golf side of things, see some normalcy, but obviously there's a lot of things have to happen as life gets back on its axis again.
Listen, we've got lots of questions to get through from our special guest here. I didn't even give you your proper introduction. I just said, here's Graeme McDowell, let's get going. But I will give you a proper introduction. So what was it? 11 European Tour wins, US Open champion, of course, at Pebble Beach in 2010, and 4 times a Ryder Cupper. But that doesn't quite cover it, because when you talk about the Ryder Cup with Graeme McDowell, it is as the man who won the Ryder Cup entirely on his own against Hunter Mahan in the 17th
Of course
green.
I did.
Celtic Man of 2010. So, right, we're going to go straight to the questions. So, we have all our people to ask the questions here, joining us via the magic of Zoom. So, first of all, I think we've got Mark Hawthorne. Mark, are you there? And hopefully you are. And what is your question?
Hi, Graeme. It's Mark here from Armagh, Northern Ireland. Really good to be with you today. My question is, how do you think a wee country like Northern Ireland has produced 3 major champions, and more importantly, how did you feel to be the first?
Yeah, Mark. The accent gave it away pretty quickly there. Nice to hear a fellow Northern Irishman on the call, and thanks to everyone for joining us on the call this evening. But now, Mark, listen. Obviously, it's been a proud kind of 10 years for golf in Northern Ireland and Ireland as a whole, all the way back to Padraig winning his 3 major championships, and then myself, Rory, and Darren Clarke, of course. Rory's certainly one of the greatest players to maybe ever play the game, let alone be from a small country like Northern Ireland. But I think it's got a lot to do with the accessibility of the game of golf in Ireland and the UK and Ireland just in general. I think the game of golf is cheap, it's affordable, and clubs welcome young players. I think I live in Florida now, and I'm living inside of the gates of a beautiful country club with very expensive membership dues that I could have certainly never have imagined when I was growing up playing the game of golf. As a 12-year-old, and my dad, was working 2 jobs, and my mum worked 9 to 5. And if the game of golf had been as expensive as it is, say, in the US, there's no way I think I'd ever played the sport. So I think more people get the opportunity in places like Northern Ireland to try golf and to fall in love with the sport, and we're very blessed to have so many great golf courses back there as well. And I think that really helps us kind of give kids more of an opportunity. So we're very lucky. I think the environment, the conditions, it toughens us up a little bit, and like I say, so many beautiful golf courses. So long may it continue. hopefully there's lots more young players to follow us, and certainly to be the first Northern Irishman to kind of win that major championship and kind of get the boys going was obviously a very proud moment.
Excellent. It's a good question, actually, Graeme. I'm just wondering on that, do you think Rory's got another major in him? I mean, it's quite an easy thing to say with his talent that he does have another major in him, but, there are so many great players out there at the moment.
For sure. I mean, he still remains one of the most talented players I think I've ever seen. You might say life's getting in the way a little bit at the minute. Maybe he's taken a little bit of his focus away. He's got married, just had his first child. It's an amazing time in life, So, he's certainly still an incredible talent. And, as his world starts to settle down again, I think he's got multiple major championships left in him, and hopefully a green jacket and can complete that Grand Slam. I certainly have no doubt. It's been a strange year for everyone, and like I say, throw the emotions of having your first child into that year as well. So he's all right. He's okay. I think he's got a few more ahead of him.
Yeah, he's all right.
Okay.
David Bell has the next question. David, if you can fire your next question at Graeme.
Yeah, thank you. I've got zero sympathy, by the way, GMAC, for the desert sand, because it is freezing here in Scotland, so you get nothing from me there. My question is, how do you normally fill your time between rounds? Thursday to Sunday on tour when you're at the business end, and on the back of that as well, pre-COVID times, I guess, who would you typically hang out with on tour as well?
Filling my time, I think the busy part of the week is the early part of the week, when it comes to preparation and getting ready. And I think typically you try and kind of increase your rest as the weekend goes on, so it's kind of, you play your golf, play your tournament round. Perhaps, if there's a few things you're unhappy with, you might go spend 30 to 45 minutes, maybe hitting a few chips or a few putts or hitting a few drivers if needed. But as the weekend goes on, and hopefully, like you say, you're in contention, there's less of that required. And it's like, let's get out of here, let's get home, let's rest, let's eat well, and plenty of rest, really. So it's not quite as sexy as you might imagine out here. It's just kind of, there's a lot of golf course and hotel and Netflix and, kind of eating and sleeping, really, So it's, guys that I've spent a lot of time with, certainly the last few months, Shane Lowry and I have spent a lot of time together, renting houses in America. I think, with restaurants and kind of things being shut like that, kind of being able to, have a rental home to base ourselves in and cook in a little bit and just kind of, have that space where you don't have to be kind of running around with masks on all the time. And Ian Poulter, Henrik Stenson and I, we all live in the same community in Florida. We travel quite a lot together. So, we spend a bit of time together as well. But, they're long weeks out here. Like I say, it's very much focused on getting my preparation done the last couple of days. And when the gun goes off tomorrow, hopefully tee times will continue to be nice and late as we move into the weekend. And like I say, the evenings are very much just kind of eating food and getting some rest and chilling.
Right, and just a very quick answers to these follow-up questions then. What's the takeaway of choice when Shane's in town? And what do you watch on Netflix? Don't chuckle at that one, come on. I'm into a bit of Designated Survivor at the minute. So if anyone's had it, it's a good show. Very relevant, quite relevant at the minute, obviously, with with American politics and everything that's happening around the White House. So it's really interesting. When we're renting houses together, Shane and I, the horse racing pretty much is on in the morning. When we're in America, there's we normally wake up to coffees and the horse racing, and the evenings are spent watching any American sport that might be on that we can have a couple of quid on. So fairly predictable. Takeouts, sushi, Italian, put a steak in the grill, basic stuff really. Oh God. Gamble responsibly, kids. That's what I say.
Correct.
Robert McClellan with the next question. Robert, what's your question?
Hi, Graeme. Thanks for the opportunity to chat with you. Being I'm a senior player, I'm 57 years old, and a low handicap's 5. I hit the ball what I consider relatively decent distance, but in tournaments I get paired up with people half my age who hit the ball much farther than I do. How do you prevent yourself from trying to hit the ball as far as they do, stay within your game and compete?
You just pretty much summed up my life on tour there, in one sentence, Robert. Playing with kids half my age, hitting it 40 yards by me. It sounds very familiar. I played with Matthew Wolff in July of this year at WGC in Memphis, and it was my birthday actually, the first round, and we were walking off one of the tees, and he asked me, he said, how old are you today? And I said 41, and he said, holy that's old. And I was like, how old are you? And he said, well, I'm 21. So I was like, okay, that's great, and he was hitting it 40 yards by me as well. So, it was an interesting day, but, how do you do it? You certainly have to just kind of keep the blinkers on a little bit and focus on guys like, take a Jim Furyk, for example. Not many guys have made more money in the PGA Tour than Jim Furyk, and his ball speed's probably 158 mile an hour as opposed to, what's the norm nowadays on tour, which high 70s, 180. So he's, 15, 20 mile an hour behind kind of some of these guys, which equates to 45, 50 yards through the air. So there is much more to this sport than just hitting the ball a long way, as we all know. It requires, a lot of skill to keep the ball in the fairway, to hit your irons the right distances, to chip and to putt, and to have the right mental game, So you just got to try and keep doing what you're doing. I think you and I both at this point in our lives, we're not going to magically find 20 miles per hour clubhead speed. We could try, but we're probably going to need some chiropractic help afterwards. But no, I think just keep chipping away, Robert. Just keep kind of making the things that you do well. Just keep those sharp, keep your wedge play sharp, and just keep chipping and putting well.
Yeah,
right,
there we
thanks.
are. Yeah, and I think, Robert, all you have to take note of is the fact that Bernard Langer and Larry Mize made the cut at the Masters. So I'm kind of rooting against Matthew Wolff now after saying that 41 is old. So there we are. Anyway.
Yeah, he did it, Andrew, and he said to me, and I said, listen, mate, I turned pro when I was 22, and I blinked, and I was 41. I said, it'll come to you one day. And he looked at me and he said, not for a long time, though.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he thinks just now, because we all think it's going to last forever when you're 21. So,
correct.
Yeah, it'll come to you, Matt. Right. Yeah. Okay, Martin Verspeak. Martin, your question for Graeme.
Yeah, hi, Graeme. Thanks very much. I was there that Monday in the mud, trying to get to the 16th green over in Wales on the Ryder Cup, and I wondered how that putt compared to the putt that you made to win the US Open means to you as a defining moment in your career, and if there was a choice, which one was the most important to you?
Yeah, that was that was an amazing day in the mud, sliding down the hills of Celtic Manor and the valleys of Wales, and winning the US Open was important to me, but playing in 4 Ryder Cups are very special to me. They're very hard to compare, and a lot of people ask me the question, kind of what meant more to you, winning a US Open or holding the winning putt in the last match at the Ryder Cup. And I was very fortunate to experience those things within about 3 months of each other, and I can listen, the US Open was amazing. It's the pinnacle of a golfing career as far as achievement goes personally. But there's something about playing a Ryder Cup, the emotions, the kind of the love in the heart, and the intensity that you kind of feel at a Ryder Cup. There's nothing quite like it. You've got 11 other phenomenal players in the team room with you that you're playing for, and all the caddies and everyone involved in the European Tour, and you feel like you're playing. You're playing for your continent. And I mean against the red, white, and blue of America. And I mean, listen, and the way the fans interact with you, it's so partisan. It's either like when you're in America and you hold a putt, there's silence. And you're in Europe and you hold a putt, and the place, you don't even have to hold a putt. You just have to walk onto a green, and the place goes wild. It's an amazing they're emotion. I really put the 4 Ryder Cups that I've played. I put them in a very special place in my career, in my heart, and in my memory bank, because each one of them was so special to me. 08 was my rookie year at Valhalla. We lost, but there was something just so special about the whole week. And then Celtic Manor, of course, playing the last match, holding the putt. I mean, I'll remember that for the rest of my life. And then 2012, Medina. I mean, just ridiculous. I mean, it was insanely cool, kind of coming back the way we did on Sunday, and then 14 at Glen Eagles. I felt like all of a sudden I'd grown up, and I was kind of one of the kind of older statesmen in the team, and kind of given a rookie for the week to look after, and went 3-0, and that was special too. So just amazing, really. The U.S. Open personally will always be very, very, very important to me, but the Ryder Cups are, emotionally nothing quite like them. They're amazing, and the fire kind of still burns inside me to play one more. I'd love to try and be on the team at Whistling Straits next year.
Thank you, Martin. Right, Jim Dwight has the next question for Graeme. So come in, Jim.
Thank you, Andrew, and good afternoon from Tier 3 Kent. GMAC, how did your success as a college golfer prepare you for life as a touring pro?
Great question, and I think it's a really, really important. It was a very important stage of my life. I think, especially for kids in the UK and Ireland. When you hit that 17, 18-year-old kind of window, you're no longer a boy. You're no longer kind of in that under 18. You're graduating to the big boy leagues, from an amateur point of view. And you're maybe, the Sergio Garcias and the Rory McIlroys and the Tiger Woodses of the world, they're not the normal, So, guys like myself who are going to need 4 or 5 more years before we're ready for the professional ranks. I think going to college in America really fills that void quite nicely, that void between 18 to 23 where you're like, well, I need an education, but I want to be a pro golfer, but I'm not sure I'm good enough, and to find that balance between, taking the risk of kind of, going all in to be a professional golfer and not making it, and then you're 28 years old and you look around and you go, what have I got to show for myself? Nothing. When you can go to college, a US college, hopefully you're good enough, and they'll come and help you with a scholarship, and again, I couldn't have afforded to have done that myself, and thankfully I got enough of a scholarship to get me on a plane to go out there, and it was a really, really important time in my life, because I went from probably, a top 10 player in Ireland to, I spent, my first year when I came back that summer, I won everything and kind of elevated myself to nearly the #1 amateur in Ireland. Just after 12 months of college in the States, which was practicing all through the winter, competing in college events. And I just kind of all of a sudden got the bit between my teeth and really elevated my game. And my last year in US college system, I was the #1 player in Division I golf. And it is one of the most unique sports in the world, in that the very, very most talented golfers in the world sometimes don't make it. Like a young footballing talent in the UK and Ireland is going to get picked up by a club. Like in the States, basketball, baseball, football, the talent gets found and they get picked up and they get their chance. In golf, you have to make your own. You have to create your own opportunity by holding a putt at the right time in the right place. So it's an amazing sport from that point of view, and it requires a huge amount of fortune and a huge amount of luck, and that's why I think the college system gives that incredible balance to a kid that doesn't really know what his future, kind of how it lies.
That's a great answer. Thank you very much, Graeme. We're going to have to rattle through some things, but I just want to quickly, so just a quick answer to this one. What did you make of Alabama then when you first went there? Because it must be quite an eye-opener to a kid from Northern Ireland.
Yes, it was my first time in America. And my accent probably sounded a little bit more like Mark's accent there from Armagh, and I do take a wee bit of stick for how my accent's evolved. I'm going to call it an evolution. And I think it comes from going to college in the Deep South, and I was in a subway trying to order a sandwich one day, my first couple of months in Alabama, and I got about halfway down the line, and this lady looked at me and she said to me, I have no idea what you just said to me, but I love your accent, And I mean, it was kind of like I either was going to spend the next 3 years repeating myself, or I was going to have to try and adjust the way I said a few things. And, much to people's amusement in Northern Ireland, I did adjust my accent a little bit, and I take a wee bit of stick for it, right? Don't I, Mark? But it's all right. It's okay.
Yeah,
we love it. We love it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I understood that. So I have the same problem in Cheshire. So, right. Okay, Stephen Martindale has a good question. Stephen, what's your question for GMAC?
Hi, Steve Martindale from Germany, or Yorkshireman living in Germany.
Nice.
Hi, I've watched and enjoyed Padraig Harrington's tutorials on YouTube. And obviously most of them come from his garden. And I was wondering if you have a golf course in your garden, Graeme, and if you don't, where do you do your practicing?
Yeah, Padraig's got a hell of a back garden, shall we say? And I think we all aspire to have a backyard that looks just like that one. But no, I don't. My back garden has a swimming pool in it and a trampoline for the kids and a few swings. That's about the height of my back garden, but I'm lucky enough to live in a beautiful golf community in Florida. So I live I'm probably about 400 yards away from the driving range. So I guess in a way, I've got a golf course in my back garden. So very fortunate. I think about 2 or 3 years after I turned pro, I bought myself a small place in Florida so that I could have somewhere to sort of locate myself, to get myself out of Portrush, Northern Ireland, when it was cold and in the middle of winter, so that I could continue to work in my game and practice and get ready. So I fell in love with Florida and as a place to base myself and a place to live and to travel from. And my wife's American, and I have little kids out there now, so that's home. And I'm very lucky and very fortunate to have a phenomenal practice facility, a few hundred yards outside of my front door. So I jump in my cart and I head to the range, and I can get plenty of work done and continue to get my game ready for the next event. So, but Paddy's tips are I tune into them every now and again myself, and sharing his tips and thoughts on the game has been very interesting.
Yeah, good question. He's having enormous success with him and his dog Wilson online as well. So if you can imagine someone having success online with their dogs.
No,
right. Ian Muffinin has got a next question. Ian, come in.
Yeah, the next question. Hello, Graeme. What do you think? What do you think you changed the most to climb up the world rankings in recent times?
Do you mean sort of the last few years?
Yeah, just the start of this season there, you were ready to go, and you did come in to get a new prize there in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, you looked like you were ready for the Masters, but it was all cancelled.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I just kind of reset a little bit, Ian, to be honest with you. I sort of middle of the summer last year, probably not long after the open at Portrush, I realized that, the consistency wasn't really there in my game. And I started working with a new coach. Pete Cowan is the guy I worked with most over the last 15 years, good Yorkshire lad. And, to be honest with you, when I fell outside of the world's top 50, I really felt like I wasn't seeing Pete enough. Pete travels to the majors and the WGCs and the big events, and my schedule wasn't really kind of dovetailing well with Pete's schedule. And Pete's in his 70s now, and he's not the kind of guy that can jump on a plane to Florida to come and see me, kind of when I need him. So he has a schedule, and I felt like I needed someone else to help me a little bit. So I started working with a guy called Kevin Kirk, who's based in Houston, in the States, and he studied under Pete and really talks the same language as Pete, and he started to really help me and simplify my swing a little bit, and really gave me some ideas and thoughts and simple things that I really hadn't been doing well practice-wise, just about practicing better, practicing a little bit more with a purpose, hitting some shots, controlling, just really some more targeted practice time and some playing time, So I'm feeling as energized and as motivated about the sport as I have in a long time, and I think that's one of the very unique things about the game of golf. We're lucky that we can continue, if you can stay healthy, both in body and mind, that you can continue to compete well into your 40s, So, I'm excited about what the future holds, and I certainly still believe that I can win, some of the biggest events in the world.
Excellent. Thank you for that question, Ian. Right, so we're next moving on to a question from Craig. I think it is Craig Gown, probably mispronouncing, but Craig himself is about to tell me how badly I've done there.
You haven't done too bad there, Andrew.
Thank you very much.
Been called much worse than that.
I'm going to give myself a round of applause there. There we are. Thank you.
Absolutely. Very topical question about distance and the push for distance. Do you think, and from a PGA Pro's perspective, that you welcome sort of USGA RNA intervention into technology? And I know Jack Nicklaus has brought up about balls and things like that. Do you honestly think that that'd be better for the game and encourage more people to play it, or would you just think it restrict it to a niche group of people?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really interesting question, Craig. There's such a fine line. There's such a fine line between, is the game kind of exciting right now, and all the talk about guys like DeChambeau and Matt Wolff and Dustin Johnson and how far they hit the ball and how exciting it is to watch these guys take on the best courses in the world and kind of do crazy things to them. But then the other flip side of the coin is, you start running out of real estate. What would these guys do to St Andrews when we go there in 25? Say we get a hot summer in Scotland and St Andrews is playing firm and fast and the weather is very benign. To me, St Andrews is one of the most iconic golf courses on the planet, and if it got destroyed, it would be disappointing for the sport. Or would it? Do people want to see that? Do they want to see 30 under par St Andrews? Or, do we not want to see the integrity of these phenomenal golf courses get kind of torn apart? So I kind of like where we're at right now. I think it's exciting for a little while, but how far can it go? I feel like we're at. Yeah, I mean, I'm worried about how far we can go. I kind of feel we're at this. I feel like we hit this precipice a few times, and I felt like, no, distance is now going to level off. But it keeps kind of going, and it's not leveling off. And I never really ever thought we'd see a situation where we could have a guy out here with 200-mile ball speed, 200 miles per hour ball speed, but being able to compete at a high level. I'm undecided. I'm undecided because I feel like it's exciting. And I don't want to take the excitement away from the sport because I feel like we're in a very, very healthy time right now. But if it keeps going in the direction that it's going, I feel like we could have a serious problem on our hands. And, if I was the RNA, I'd be looking at 25, St Andrews, the Open Championship. If we're going to do something, we're going to do something before then, because I do not want to see that golf course getting absolutely ridiculed because DeChambeau could potentially hit it on about 10 of those greens out there in the right conditions, and that would be silly. So it's a tough one.
Excellent. Listen, Sean Anderson's got a question. I like the two sides to this question here. So what's your question, Sean?
Thanks, Andrew. Graeme, hi. Good to chat. I'm based in Dubai, so look forward to seeing you over the weekend.
Cool.
My question is, in a tournament, if you have the opportunity to choose a playing partner, who would that playing partner be and why? And on the same theme, if we're able to answer this one as well, who would you definitely not choose and why?
Has this been recorded? I think it is. So that limits my ability to answer that question very honestly, Sean, unfortunately. But, the short answer is 99% of the guys out here I'm very, very happy to see my name on the draw with him. You know, it's there's a bunch of great guys out here. I typically like guys that like to chat it up a little bit. You know, have good attitudes. Unfortunately, there are a very small percentage of guys out here with very bad attitudes, and you know, it's kind of the woe is me, you know, and you know, did you see that ball bounced? I mean, you know, why does it happen to me all the time? You know, it's like, yeah, you know, you're playing golf at an extremely high level, and you're one of the 1% of the 1%, you know, the greatest players in the world out here playing for millions of dollars every week. Life's not that bad, mate. Get on with it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to name and shame, but you know, I'm sure you guys, you know, watch enough golf on TV, you can probably work that out for yourself. But you know, like I say, 99% of the guys out here are fantastic professionals, great players, super talented. I'm playing with Martin Keimer tomorrow in the first round, 2-time major champion, players champion. Last time I played with Martin Keimer in the first round of the race to Dubai, the world, you know, DP World, him and I were first and second in the race to Dubai in 2010. So, you know, not similar circumstances. I think we're 23 and 24 in the race to Dubai this year. But looking forward to playing with him. He's a fantastic player, great champion, and I'll certainly enjoy my stroll tomorrow, shall we say?
Awesome, thank you.
Next question is from Craig Douglas. Craig, what's your question?
Good afternoon, Graeme. Thanks for taking the time. My question you probably mostly answered already, but I'll power on regardless. What did you find more personally satisfying? Holding the winning putt in the Ryder Cup in 2010, and a fantastic putt that was, or being part of the ridiculous comeback in 2012 in Medina?
You know, great question, Craig. Interestingly, the miracle at Medina wasn't very miraculous for me because Zach Johnson beat me on 17. So I've only ever lost one Ryder Cup singles, and it just so happened it was that day. So it was, you know, it was a little bit bittersweet for me because you want to win your singles, and I didn't. And you know, I actually, of the 4 Ryder Cups I played, Medina was probably the worst performance personally from me. But, you know, it summed up what the Ryder Cup's all about for me, Medina, because it's not about you personally. It's about the team. You know, one of the big things we worked on in Gleneagles, in Paris there a few years ago now, I guess, when I was vice captain. You know, was kind of leaving your egos at the door, you know, because you have such a sort of vast spectrum of players in a Ryder Cup team. You've got, you know, major champions all the way down to rookies, guys that, you know, maybe won a couple of events, had a great year, and made them, you know, and they're surrounded by, you know, some of the greatest players of all time, you know. So what we've always done well in the European team is we've always had the ability where the best players can elevate the rookies up to their level, you know, rather than the best players having to come down. We want to bring everyone up to a certain level, you know. So, you know, leaving the egos at the door, and that's kind of why winning collectively is what it's all about, you know. So I went from, you know, the Celtic Manor last match, hold the putt, kind of be the man, to I hit the first tee shot in Medina that Friday morning, which was really cool. And then, you know, I lose my singles, and it's kind of like sitting on the sidelines watching my teammates kind of getting the job done. It was kind of like this whole like role reversal thing, and it was amazing, you know, and it was really cool, and I enjoyed that one just as much as I enjoyed the one in Wales, because like I say, yes, I mean, it is nice to play well personally, but at the end of the day, you're trying to get it done as a unit, as a team, as Europe, and I feel like because of that, you know, I've experienced all the emotions there are to experience the Ryder Cup, and that's why I want some more. Give me some more of that. It's pretty special.
Excellent. That's a very good question, Craig. Thank you very much for that and for the answer, Graeme. Now, our final question is supposed to be from Nick Marriott. You have the honour of the final question, so take it away.
Okay, thanks, Graeme. Hi. I was until recently playing a Cleveland Classic driver, and one of the reasons I got into one of those was, one, because my mate gave me a good deal on it. I also remember that you you were playing with a classic driver. I've recently taken it out of the bag and to use an M2 because I feel it's lost quite a bit of distance.
Disgraceful.
But in terms of the head looking over the ball, it's such a good looking head over the ball. And I would continue playing with it, but I think I'm just trading off for too much distance. Do you find the same thing, or?
For sure. I mean, listen, I play a lot of golf with a lot of people like you guys that spend too much time in the office and probably not enough time on the range working on your game. And I do get an opportunity to see some very old classic golf clubs, you know. I mean, I played a day with RBC there a few weeks ago, and I think there were 2 sets of Ping I2s in play. A set of beryllium coppers, and, you know, fantastic clubs back in 1995, but I mean, you know, we've moved on a little bit, you know. So I think, especially when it comes to drivers and fairway woods, the technology has moved on huge amounts, you know, from the Cleveland Classic, which was, you know, circa 2011, 2012, and I did use it, and it was a great driver at the time. You know, we've moved on a lot. I mean, ball speeds have increased, you know, the technology has increased, especially in drivers, and you know, Strixon have had a couple of great new heads since then. So Strixon owned Cleveland. Cleveland is a company, you know, owned by the Strixon company. And no, I agree with you. The Cleveland Classic was a great driver. But if I was looking for max distance, I'd be definitely looking for something a little bit more up to date. So no, definitely. You know, I always say to guys, you know, the guys with the Ping I2s in the bag, I say to them, you know, go see your PGA Pro. If you're going to buy a new set of clubs, spend the extra couple of $100 and get fit. You know, make sure you've got the right lie angle, lofts, shafts, swing weights, grips. You know, and even the right golf ball. You know, and I, you know, being a Strixon guy, you know, we kind of run the battle every day of everyone believing that Titleist is the only ball in the world that's any good. You know, when in actual fact there's a huge variety of great golf balls on the market, and definitely worth spending the time making sure you're playing not only the right equipment but the right golf ball.
So this is you profess to be quite old when talking to Matt Wolff, but did you even ever play wooden? Because I had a Cleveland Classic oil hardened persimmon with a tiny sweet spot. Did you even ever have a wooden driver?
I didn't play much with wooden drivers, but I did have this Wilson Staff 4-wood with like it was a light brown varnish on it. I mean, this thing, I had that in the bag for quite a while. I think the first set of irons my dad bought me was a set of John Letters. He bought them secondhand, didn't have an 8-iron in it, so I had like this random 8-iron, and then I had a set of John Letters persimmon woods. You know, I had the 3-wood, the 4-wood, the 5-wood. I mean, I love those things, but there's nothing quite like the feel of a persimmon driver. But we're all about ball speed nowadays. You know, it's all about the speed, baby.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, no, listen, I'm 47 now. You had one iron from one set, another from another set, maybe 2 irons if I was lucky from the same set. So it was just until I got actually up. Listen, thank you very much for joining us, GMAC, and thank you to everyone who's joined courtesy of Hilton to ask your questions. I hope you've enjoyed it as well. But that's it from the Hilton audience with Graeme McDowell. So, Graeme, thank you again for joining us, and have a great tournament.
No, thank you. Thanks to everyone for spending the time with me this evening, and thanks for the support, guys. Thank you.
To watch another European Tour video, click here, and to subscribe, click here.